Right now, let's talk about the debanking crisis right now. Nigel Farage has threatened a mass legal action against banks in this country, including, of course, NatWest, Barclays, Lloyds and everyone else. And, of course, Coutts, who debanked him after some 3,000 people have come forward saying they were also debanked. And they were told, of course, as he was, it was for commercial reasons. But was it really? Let's talk to Ben Jones right now. He's Director of Case Operations and Outreach at the Free Speech Union. Good morning to you, Ben.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, I mean, when this first happened, this first emerged, and the critics of Farage were saying, oh, for goodness sake, the rich bloke doesn't have quite enough money to have a bank account with Coutts, the Queen, the Queen and the Queen's Bank. What do we care? And then it emerged that this was happening to thousands of people. What sort of legal action could he bring?
Well, it's so short-sighted that people at the time of this story breaking were saying, well, we don't like Nigel Farage very much, so we don't care particularly about this story, when it's now obvious that it's been happening on a far larger scale than was thought. So I think if it's 1/10 of the figure that he's identified, that's a huge scandal on its own. I see there are more than 500 former customers of NatWest who've come forward. So I think a collective action is a very good idea. And at the Free Speech Union, we've dealt with numerous cases of people who face debanking or financial exclusion of some kind from payment service providers, PayPal, and so on.
You've
so
had it at
obviously
Free
it's a much
Speech
bigger
Union
problem.
yourselves when PayPal closed your account. And again, a crucial part of people doing business now.
Right, absolutely. And we're seeing this kind of creeping authoritarianism across society. And you were just speaking to your previous guest about the price people are paying in totalitarian society. So I don't want to over-egg this, but there is this creeping authoritarianism. We've seen this in the Premier League compiling intelligence dossiers on fans because of their views on trans rights. We've seen it in the Farage debanking scandal. We can see it now in the evidence of these 3,000 former customers of banks that he's identified. So we really need a concerted effort to push back against this kind of authoritarianism.
Yeah.
People have the right to their political views.
But that's the thing. A lot of the time as well, people are saying, well, you know, these are private organisations. They should get to choose who they can give business to. But if they were saying, I'm not going to have you as a customer because you're black or because you're gay, people would rightly speak out about this. But why should people's political views, they're totally irrelevant?
And there are laws, of course, against that type of discrimination, but there's very scant protection for your political views or for discrimination against your political views or because of what you think about Brexit or immigration or the environment or net zero or whatever. And we see this in employment situations, we see this in universities, we see it in banks, we see it at the hands of the Premier League and so on. And so really we have a situation where you're only really free to speak your mind completely openly in modern Britain if you're very independently wealthy or if you're retired. It's obviously a completely unsatisfactory situation that can't go on. We need proper protection for people's political views and their right to express their views.
Absolutely. Ben Jones from the Free Speech Union, thank you very much indeed.